Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Brief Border Wars. This is a game designed by Brian Train and published by Compass Games. I just got this in the mail, so I wanted to share an unboxing with you guys so you can take a look inside. It is now available from Compass. So if you are a Brian Train fan, if you are an old flat pack game fan where you've got multiple games in one box, this is the type of game you're going to want to order. So jump on it now while it's available from Compass Games before it goes out of print, because I think this is going to be a very hot seller. So let's take a look at the back of the box and see what this game's all about. It says here, Brief Border Wars is a set of 4 small operational level games on short border conflicts of the 20th and 21st century. We have 1969, the Football War, 1974, Operation Attila, 1979, the Third Indochina War, and 2006, the Second Lebanon War. Players assume the roles of commanders of the forces of warring countries. They move their units and have them engage in combat using a card-driven system that models the chaotic, stop-and-start nature of these impromptu wars. 4 sets of exclusive rules reflect the peculiar nature of each conflict. Your sense of improvisation will be challenged as you explore 4 of the more interesting small wars of the last 50 years. And inside we get 4 22 by 17 inch area movement maps, a sheet of 176 counters, a player aid card, 2 6-sided dice, a set of system rules, 4 sets of exclusive rule aids, and 1 deck of 54 playing cards. It is listed as 6 out of 10 on the complexity scale. Time scale varies from 1 day to a week. Map scale is area movement. Unit scale varies because you're dealing with insurgent groups up to divisions. It is for 2 players, and it is listed as 4 out of 10 on the suitability for solitaire play. Average time to play is 1 to 2 hours, and it's recommended for ages 14 and up. So let's take a look inside and see what you get. All right, we get our Compass catalog. You want to pick up some more Compass games. We have a little bit of errata, just a couple lines, not too bad. Our 2d6, deck of cards, the system rules, which are not on paper. This is a pretty awesome fold-out, cardstock fold-out. And then we have our player aid card. And then our exclusive rules for each of the games, handled the same way as the base rules are, all on a fold-out cardstock. And then we have our sheet of counters, and then our 4 different maps. So let's set up the maps and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the 4 maps that come with the game. Beautifully done maps, love the palette used, and I love the formatting of the maps. They all follow the same flow. Your turn record track is in the top right corner of each map. So when you learn one game, you can easily jump to each other game. Any type of information box like your rear area, your transit box, damage units, reserve units, whatever, are all on the periphery of the maps. So again, makes it easy to go from one to the other. The different regions on each map are easy to read. The borders are clearly delineated. And then you have all the information that you need as far as terrain, victory points, any modifiers inside each of the regions. And another pretty cool little feature is in the bottom left corner of each of the maps, you're going to see a little call-out box that's going to tell you where in that region this conflict took place. So you get a little bit of a geography lesson at the same time you're getting a history lesson, and that's pretty cool. Now we'll take a look at the counter sheet that comes with the game. This is a single counter sheet for 4 games, so it's going to be low counter density, and all of the different factions are listed out on the counter sheet. You've got Hondurans, El Salvador, Vietnam, Israel, Turkey, Cyprus, China, and Hezbollah up here in the top left. Now we'll take a look at a couple of the cards that come with the game. There is a deck of cards that'll be used in the game for all 4 games within Brief Border Wars. And what you'll do is you'll draw a set amount of cards off the deck, and you will hand them to the players based on the color coding. Here you have the gray player, and this is the white player. You don't have to worry about showing the values because the color coding is on the back of the cards. And on the front, you're going to see here there are 2 values, a combat value and a movement value. The movement value tells you here that you can move 3 units, 1 adjacent space anywhere on the map, including the off-map boxes onto the map. And then for the 8 combat, that tells you you can use 8 units in combat anywhere on the map. Now we'll take a look at a couple of the special cards that are in the game. These are special action cards. Each player will get 6 of these. And the reason you'll have these in your hand is being that you're drawing off the deck, there may be times where you'll end up with no cards or just maybe 1 card on that next draw for the next turn, so you'll have limited actions. The special actions will allow you to do actions in place of having cards in your deck. And to spice things up, there are 2 random event cards that are shuffled into the decks as well. And when these are drawn, you'll roll a 1d6 and you will consult the random event table for that specific game, which will tell you what event will take place at that time. And this is the player aid we saw before. It's actually more of an addendum to the scenarios that are in the box. There is an alternate scenario for the Third Indochina War, which gives you some setup information on how to win. And the Second Lebanon War random events chart is also on this player aid card. And we'll take a look at the rules that come with the game. It is a very brief 4-page cardstock fold-out, so not very difficult at all to get through. You start off with your introduction, general course of play, game components, counters, map display, and playing aids, and then you have your game concepts start at the bottom of page 1, and along with your setup information, which is actually handled based on each different scenario that you have in the game for the 4 scenarios that come with it. Sequence play is going to be the same unless it changes with the scenario rules. You're going to have the card selection phase, card play resolution phase, movement, combat, combat procedures, your pre-combat step, how you're going to add air support, air-to-air combat, ground combat resolution. And it's pretty simple. When you're going to have air combat, you commit your air, they're going to commit their air, you have air combat if both sides commit air, and then any units that do survive air combat will obviously be used to support the ground troops, and that's done by just adding a 1d6 to the combat. And we have retreats and exploitation, which is essentially advance after combat, your special action cards, which we've already discussed, and on the back it explains the reaction move, final phase, game end of victory, special rules, and the varying the player advantage and ability. If you have one guy that's better than the other, you can very easily handicap that player and make it more difficult. There's some designer's notes from Brian and then the credits. And we'll take a brief look at the exclusive rules for each of the games within Brief Border Wars. The first is for the Football War. It follows the same exact format as the series rules, which makes it easy to follow along with. Introduction, general course of play, game components and concepts. Then we get into type and identification chart to tell you the different units that you have in that game, and the setup is there on the right side. And then within here, you're going to have all of the exclusive rules that are going to be specific to this game. And then you have your event chart over here on the right-hand side, which we talked about before. When you draw the event cards on the deck, you're going to roll a d6, and you're going to follow along with those random events. This is the sequence of play on the back of the rules for the Football War. Operation Attila, it's going to follow the same format as we saw at the Football War. You have your identification chart, how to set up the game, the exclusive rules just for this game, your random events chart, and then on the back you'll have your sequence of play. Third Indochina War, the exact same as the other 2. Exclusive rules, your random events chart, and then on the back is the sequence of play. And finally, the Second Lebanon War. You have your type and ID chart, your setup here on the top right. Inside is your exclusive rules. And on the back is the sequence of play, because remember, the player aid has the random events chart that you'll use for the Second Lebanon War. And that is a look at everything you get inside of Brief Border Wars, a game designed by Brian Train and published by Compass Games. Get a lot of game in this box. You get 4 games in one box, low counter density, low rules complexity. Game's going to run you about 1 to 2 hours. Really easy games to get on the table with a friend or with a non-war gamer. You can easily introduce somebody to the beauty of wargaming with this system, with any of the games that they might be interested in. And you can also take them with you. Low footprint, low counter density, easy to transport with you when you're going to be traveling on the road for business or vacation, things like that, so you can play wherever you are. And this is available now, so if you are interested in it, definitely grab a copy before it goes out of print. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. You have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.